Again, assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. نستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وبعد. Praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the nourisher and the provider for the entire universe. As soon as we receive assistance from, and guidance from, and forgiveness from. In Him we believe, in Him we place our trust. The Quran says that whomsoever Allah guides, no one can misguide that person. And similarly, whomsoever He allows misguided, no one can guide that person. We testify none to His worship except Allah alone. And we testify that Muhammad is His messenger and servant. You know, as religious people, you know, a tendency exists in which every group or every sect or even each individual sees himself or herself as special or as saved or safe. In fact, in Egypt there was a man who was a leader of one of the jihadi groups. He said, everyone else in the world is a kafir except myself. So these types of trends exist, and we can identify these trends even outside of a religious context. For example, someone may say or feel that members of another group or even another race or another nationality, you might feel that the person who is not from your group is low or scum or something like that. So these trends exist. And so ignoring these trends for a moment, the Quran informs us that God cares for all, nourishes and provides for all. And this is one of the reasons, or I should say this is a fact, that we recite every day. When we say what? Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. So Allah's nourishment is unlimited. And as is worded elsewhere in the Quran, it says, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. So if you try to count the blessings of God, if you try to count the bounties of God, you will not be able to do so. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. So Allah's nourishment is unlimited. And when we think of Allah's nourishment or Allah's provision, we think of rain, we think of crops. And yet there is another side to that. Allah's nourishment, meaning His care and His concern, is such that He created human beings to be able to benefit from each other. And just to use cultural examples, almost every people in the world eat chicken. And yet everybody cooks chicken or prepares chicken in a different manner. Some people like it hot, like me, hot and spicy. Some people like it mild. Some people in West Africa, they cook it with peanut butter. I know they cook it with peanut butter. I used to have African roommate and they cook the chicken with peanut butter. Very heavy chicken, very thick food. But we learn from each other in these regards. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made humans to learn by having interactions with those outside of our group, whether it's our ethnic group or our cultural group or even our religious group. And so, Allah actually says that. It says, وَجَعَلْنَكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ تَعَارَفُوا. So this isn't mysticism, this isn't socialism or philosophy or anything like that. This is firmly grounded in the Quran. And what is the Quran? It's a book from God which is of remarkable clarity and consistency. So this book, meaning the Quran, informs us repeatedly about the tendency, especially in religious circles, to rejoice in sectarianism or group politics, meaning, my group is better than your group, or I am more qualified to have God's pleasure, have God's paradise. I'm more qualified than you. So, the Quran talks about those sorts of tendencies, and I'm going to explain it a little bit. But as an introductory comment, I want to say that such thoughts are actually devilish. They're actually devilish thoughts. Very early on in the Quran, when it tells us the story of creation, it has it that Iblis was told to make sujood, to prostrate before Adam. And so what did he say? He didn't do so. In fact, he said what? He said, "Ana khayru minhu." I'm better than him. Why should I prostrate to Adam? I'm better than him. For what reason? He made up his own reason. خَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِن طِينٍ. The reason is because you created me. I am created from fire, whereas this creature, Adam, is created from clay or from dust. And is worded elsewhere in the Quran. Incidentally, this is another reason that shows that when we should always ask God's protection from Satan even before we read the Quran. When I'm talking about sectarianism or groupism or whatever ism we want to call it, we have to not read our own prejudices into the Quran. So when we open it up, we're supposed to say "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim," incidentally. Because Satan can oftentimes mask his plans or his wishes behind the rhetoric and language of religion. So keeping that in mind, we know that there are those who say that we are hell-bound for one theological reason or another. The Quran itself records their thoughts precisely. And the Quran says, quoting them, it says, "And they say, none shall enter paradise except that he be Jewish or Christian. وَقَالُوا لَنْ يَدْخُلَ الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ حُودًا أَوْ نَصَارًا." You shall not have the paradise of God unless you're a Jew or a Christian. So they say, to be on the good side of God, you have to be born to a Jewish or a Christian family. And we know the Jews are God's chosen people, God's elite people. And the Christians, they have an advantage. This is their belief because the Son of God died for their sins. So simply believing in these things will allow you to go to heaven. So the Quran addresses this idea very, very strongly. And it says, "Tilka amaniyuhum." Tilka amaniyuhum. Which means these are just their imaginations. This is just their imagination, their empty desires. People wishing they had $1 million in their pocket. Oh, I have $1 million in my pocket. And I open it up. I have no money. All I have is bills in my pocket. Not even the bills that fold, the bills that are taken from you. Receipts. So simply hoping for a result does not make it become true. Simply hoping for a result doesn't make it become true. If it was, then I would have $1 million. I have a lot of things that I will not tell you guys about. So just using yourselves as an example, all of you wanted to come to the masjid. But you didn't just sit back and say, oh, I hope I open up my eyes and I will be in the masjid. No, you didn't do that. What did you do? You made an effort to come to the masjid. Maybe getting a ride, or driving your car, or walking. However way, you made it to the masjid. You wanted to do it and you made effort to do it. So your desire became a reality. And you're here in the masjid today as a result of that desire. You act on that desire. So if we want paradise, we are to do more than dream about it, than to have fantasies about it. We have to do more than just say, I believe I will go to paradise. That is essentially the message of the Quran. So, in the narration I narrated a few moments ago, Iblis, he assumed superiority because of his origins with regards to or in comparison to Adam. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way in the physical world. Why should that work that way in the spiritual world? So in response to that idea that only the Jewish or the Christians can have God's paradise, Allah says, قُلْ حَاتُ بُرْحَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Says, say, make a statement, say, قُلْ حَاتُ بُرْحَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Say, produce your evidence if you're speaking the truth. So what verifiable or independent evidence is available to guarantee that God will only be merciful to that particular